Salvete discipuli. Today we are going to do chapter 4 in Wheelock's Latin. There are essentially 4 concepts that we need to do. The first is the second declension neuter, and then we need to deal with substantive adjectives now that we've done all 3 genders. We need to do the present conjugation of some, and then we also need to do the predicate nominative since we are doing our first linking verb, sum esse fui fatorum, okay? But let's start with the nouns. We're going to be doing the second declension neuter, so remember, second declensions can be masculine or neuter, but regardless of what gender they are, they always end in a long I in the genitive singular. That's how you can tell that they are second declension. So, we're weary, masculine, has that same long I ending as donum doni, the neuter, okay? Something else that you need to be reminded of is the neuter law. Remember that the neuter law states that whatever the ending is in the nominative of a neuter noun, the accusative ending is going to be the exact same. And this works in both the singular and the plural. Because of this, the nominative and the accusative have the same ending. Sometimes you need to be a little careful. Now, this is true despite what declension the noun might be. It's true for second declension neuters, third declension neuters, fourth declension neuters. All the neuter nouns follow the neuter law, okay? Something else interesting about neuter nouns is that all plural neuter nouns, regardless of the declension as well, end in an A in the nominative and accusative plural, okay? So you always have that A ending. You always have that extra little reminder of how of the difference between the second declension neuter and the second declension masculine, or the third declension neuter and the other third declension nouns, okay? All right, so let's take a look at our endings in the singular. E, o, and the plural, orum, is, a, okay? So let's take a look at our paradigm, donum, doni, or a gift. We have donum, doni, dono, donum, dono, donum. And the plural, dona, and again, this A is another way for you to know that this is not a second declension masculine, because if it were a second declension masculine, it would have that long I ending in the nominative plural, right? So dona, donorum, donis, dona, donis, dona. Now, here's a little thing that you want to make a special note of. You need to be especially careful to make sure that you differentiate between the A that is a neuter plural, nominative or accusative, and the A that is a singular nominative first declension, okay? And you can almost always tell that, of course, by the person and more importantly, the number of your verb, okay? So make sure you're paying close attention to that. Remember that you have to memorize genders as part of the dictionary entry for quizzes. So if you know that this is a neuter noun, then you know that A is not going to be singular, okay? It's going to have to be plural, okay? Now, because we just did the second declension neuter, that means we have done the masculine, feminine, and neuter genders, okay? Which means that we can finally talk about adjectives. Adjectives agree with the nouns that they describe in gender, number, and case. Always. Always in gender, number, and case, right? But there are different types of adjectives. There are first, second declension adjectives, and those are the only ones we're doing for right now, and they're going to follow the patterns of the first, second declension, okay? What that means is that all masculine adjectives are going to follow the second declension masculine pattern. All feminine adjectives are going to follow the first declension endings, and all neuter adjectives are going to follow the second declension neuter. Okay, so you can always match up an adjective to the noun it's describing. But the most important thing is that you match them up by gender. They do not have to be the same declension. And of course, the best description or the best reminder of that is poeta, poetae, right? First declension, but masculine. So the adjective describing the poet is going to follow the second declension masculine. Those endings aren't going to match. But they will be the same in gender, number, and case, okay? We're going to talk a little bit more about this in a second, but remember that adjectives can be substantive, meaning that they take on the substance of a noun when there is no noun in the sentence that it's describing, okay? Also remember that the adjective base always comes from the feminine nominative form. Now this is important for any adjective that ends in R in the nominative masculine singular, like liber, libera, liberum, or pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum. It's in this feminine form that you can see whether the E stays in the base, like libera, or falls out of the base, like pulchra. Okay. Okay, so here we have a paradigm of the the noun with the adjective, so donum, doni, neuter, with the adjective pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum, so that we're going to talk about a beautiful gift, right, a donum pulchrum, and you can see here that the endings essentially match because we have a second declension neuter noun being described by a neuter adjective, which follows the second declension neuter, so there you go. Here is a brief reminder of all of the adjective endings for the masculine. It's the same as the second declension masculine, so us, e, o, right? Either E or R, depending on the nominative. Masculine plural, e, orum, es, os, es, e. Feminine singular, I, a. Feminine plural, I, arum, es, as, es, I. And now, of course, neuter singular, e, o, and then neuter plural, orum, es, es, okay? Now, substantive adjectives take on the substance of a noun if there is no noun for them to describe. So, what's very nice about this is that if you want to talk about a good man, you don't actually need to put the word man in the Latin sentence. You can just say a bonus, because that US ending is nominative singular masculine. So we know that the good thing that's being talked about is a good masculine singular, a good man, right? If you use a substantive adjective for a feminine singular, you provide woman. For neuter singular is thing. Masculine plural is men. Feminine plural is women. Neuter plural is things. So you can talk about bonum, the accusative for a good woman, right? You can say bonorum, of the good men or of the good things, okay? Bona, by, with, or from a good woman. You could just say bone, oh, good man, so on and so forth, okay? So you always now need to remind yourself that the adjective can be describing a noun if there is a noun articulated in the sentence, but if there is not, it is functioning as a substantive adjective, an adjective that has taken on the substance of a noun. Okay, present conjugation of sum. This is really easy review for you guys. Remember that sum esse fui futorum does not have voice. It just is. So we have the present indicative, the present imperative, which you're not going to see too much of, by the way, and the present infinitive. Okay, so in the present indicative, it's sum est, summus estis sunt. The singular imperative is s. So if I wanted to say be good, I would say es bona, be a good woman. Or este, I could say este boni, so on and so forth. And then the infinitive, of course, is the second principal part, esse, to be, as it is for all verbs, as a matter of fact. Now, where this becomes particularly important in terms of the concept of translating a Latin sentence is remembering that the verb to be, sum esse fui futorum, is a linking verb, okay? And what that means is that linking verbs, if you remember, cannot take direct objects, okay? They have to take a predicate nominative. So if you have a sentence where to be is the verb of the sentence, you cannot have an accusative direct object. Whatever is in the predicate that is completing the sentence is going to be a predicate nominative. So let's look at an example of this. In the sentence, Lisa puella est, right? Lisa est is a puella, a girl, right? Lisa is in the nominative because she is the subject of the sentence. But puella is also in the nominative because she is the girl is the predicate nominative. Lisa is a girl. Think of the verb to be as a big old equal sign, okay? Think about this algebraically, okay? The value that you have on one side of the equal sign has to be the same on the other side of the equal sign. So if you have that nominative subject on the one side of est, that equal sign, then the thing that completes it, the puella, also needs to be in the nominative. And basically this is true for all linking verbs and especially for the verb to be. Okay, I hope you took good notes. I will look at them tomorrow in class. I hope you have a great night. Walete.